Welcome in, one and all. After my last little vlog video, I didn't think I'd be doing another style of video like that. But then, as you've already seen from the video title, we got some really shit news in the Melbourne music scene. Beloved venue Stay Gold in Brunswick is shutting doors. I heard a rumor about this. Well, not even a rumor. The person who told me is reliable as the sun setting, and there was no, oh, I hear this is happening. It was just like, Stay Gold shutting soon. I'm like, what? No. And he's like, nah, watch socials, it's happening. And then it happened. And I'm like, shit, that sucks. Yeah, it always sucks to lose a venue, but Stay Gold was a good venue too. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good. I really like the kind of the wider room because you get closer to the stage. I thought it was a nice open space for a pit if you're at a show with a lot of mosh. Security there were always lovely. The one guy on the door is checking IDs, always recognized me as the Kirby fan with the Kirby hat. Really swell dude. I'm gonna miss seeing his face. It always just the fact that he'd be there and recognize me and just ask how I've been. It just makes it feel more like home to go to a venue and to know faces and not even, people that you've gone to see or friends you agreed to meet there, but to just see the staff and have them kind of have that facial recognition. It makes you feel part of the community. Things I won't miss. Fuck, it was a shit venue when sold out. That was a 300 room with a capacity of like 400 or something like that. You could not. I would hate to be stuck in there on a sold out show if there was a fire in that building. I don't think everyone would make it out alive. And also getting to the bar when they were sold out, or getting to the toilet, having to cross the crowd side to side, just meant you had to clear so much more like dense pack of people. That sucked. But that doesn't matter. It was our venue. It was in a prime location on Sydney Road. Who would do it? I don't even live near there anymore. I wish it was a thing while I lived in that area. I would have been there all the time. But even still, it's so easy to get to. There's so much good food around if you want to get dinner. They had a pizza place at the venue if you want to get dinner. But me, I always go down to Berkeley Square and get Zambreros because I love Zambreros, and it's the closest one to. Oh, it's not anymore, but regardless, for the longest time, it was the closest one to me. So it was a little treat to get Zambreros before a gig at Stay Gold. Unless you're going to be moshing, don't eat a full burrito and then go in the mosh pit. That's asking for a bad time. But I'm rambling before I even get the little slideshow I prepared up. So without further ado, rest in peace, Stay Gold. And that's how I feel about it. I'm a sad little egg, a sad little Kirby, and I hate to see another venue go, especially another venue on fucking Sydney Road. It's almost cursed. We lost the Brunswick Hotel, which I'm still mad about. We lost Bombay Rock, which is apparently a mini golf place now. It looks kind of fun. I want to go there, but I wish it was still a music venue. I know someone that got married there, and it looked amazing. So, congrats to them. And I'm glad they were able to have a dream wedding, but god damn it. What about the dream gigs we could have had? But anyway, I digress. Someone please give a welfare check on fucking Bergie, because Sydney Road venues apparently don't last long. But if you watch my 500 gigs video, and thank you if you did, you'll know that my top five venues, Stay Gold took out number four. It was my fourth most visited venue for gigs, so I've obviously spent a shitload of time there, and yeah, it really sucks to lose it. First time I went there was to see the Smith Street Band. I don't even have the year for that one up. Let me quickly pull that up on my second screen. Sort the spreadsheet. If you saw my 500 gigs video, you know I've got the mega spreadsheet. 25th of July, 2019. I went to Stay Gold for the Smith Street Band. And you can see very plain poster. I feel they were coming back from a hiatus. I've been to so many Smith Street Band shows. You know they were my number five most seen band. Some of them blur together, but I feel they were coming back from a hiatus. If I'm remembering the show right, Will had been through a bit of a bad breakup, to put it lightly, and they'd been off for a long time. And this was a bit of a comeback show in like a smaller venue. It felt intimate. It felt like a soft launch almost as a return. And I feel the poster really represents that. It's just like, hey, here we are. We're back. There's no pageantry about it. It's just like, we're getting back on. We're getting on with it. And yeah, it was a really nice show just to see him up on stage again, doing their thing. I did like at one moment someone in the crowd yelled out something derogatory about Will's ex, and he actually stopped the show and he's like, "That's not for you to say. All right, this is my problem, my trauma, my issues. You don't fucking know her. Don't talk shit about her." And that was one of those moments where I'm just like, "Yeah, yeah, I actually respect that. That's a fucking that's a manly way of going about the situation. That is good masculinity." So yeah, that's what I remember from that show. And then my last show there was Pale Dusk. Last show question mark. With Pale Dusk doing their headline show with Deficit, Fall Weather, and Penny Parker. And that was a fucking ripper show. That was Pale Dusk are probably the most high energy band I've ever seen live. They are just insanely all over the place all the time. And they bring the heat and they draw it out of the crowd. It was nuts. They put on such a good show. And I got to go with it with Chevin Ewok, aka Adam, who's actually someone I met at Stay Gold for the first time. Very poetic to have possibly my last show there, to go with a friend who I met there. But in between those two shows, what have we had? We've had 29 shows, 71 sets across 63 bands. So, like, there's not a lot of repeats there. And I think most of those repeats were probably the amount of times I saw the Fifth Street Band or Will Wagner solo playing there. That's another great thing about the venue. They really rotate. It's like, sure, I love venues like the Bendy where you can go and you can see Harlot play 50 times. But I also like that when you go to Stay Gold, there's almost always a new band there. There aren't a lot of repeat features at Stay Gold, unless you're one of those bands that Destroyer Alliance just absolutely loves. But we will get into that later too. And here it is. Here is all 29, I believe. Yeah, 29 shows that I've gone to at Stay Gold over the year. And even just looking at it now, like I can pick out small little memories of like, oh, I remember who was at that one. I remember that one really sucked. I remember that one was awesome. So I just want to do a little top 10 gigs at Stay Gold for this. And yeah, just pick 10 of these and talk about what they're like and what they meant to me and why they still mean a lot to me. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking off at number 10, we're doing Modern Warfare, a tribute to Camo, headlined by Primitive, with Deadweight 80, Slowburn, and Lalo. This was just a really fun, silly gig. It was on June 3rd. I do not like using Roman numerals for the date. That is hideous. Because I want to say it's June 11, but it's a typo. But no, it was June 3rd, 2023. And just a really, I don't know, silly concept for a show to celebrate camo and like camo shorts in metal, because a lot of dudes in metal like to wear camo shorts. But it is a bit of a Genesis story as well. You would have seen me in a lot of my videos wearing this hat. It's a nice little camo hat. Picked it up from Kmart and then sewed. The band is Baneblade. They're a Warhammer themed black metal band. And then I made a Cancer Bats one for my good friend and partner in crime sometimes, Connor O'Kane, because he's a huge Cancer Bats fan. And he wears that all the time still. And I agree, these hats are so comfortable. This was a $5 hat from Kmart, and it is one of the most comfortable baseball caps I own. And he feels the same way. And I don't know, it's a gift I made for a friend. Every time I see him wearing it, I feel just so genuinely chuffed that it means that much to him. And it's just a small symbol of our friendship, and that when I see him wearing it, I'm reminded that he really values our friendship just as much as I do. So yeah, it was a sick show. A kind of cool, slightly mixed, eclectic crowd. There was a little bit of like, at one point, some people were moshing, other people weren't happy with it. There was a bit of a blue, a little bit of a Donnybrook. It got sorted out. It got taken outside. No issues. I think one of the guys got kicked out, but whatever. the scene kind of plays itself, and that's always important to see. Where you're just like, yeah, sure, a blue broke out at a gig, it's bound to happen, but like, no one got seriously hurt or anything, and the problem was solved. So you like to see that. And I just got to hang out with Connor for the night, which is really cool. Got to wear camo, bought the hats. I think I had pants on as well. Crazy to have that much camo in one room for a metal show, and I don't think there was a single Sabaton song played the entire night. Also, Connor introduced me to the frontman of Primitive, Tim, that night. Got to speak with him for a bit. He's a really cool guy. I like what they do. They're metalcore, but very thrashy inspired metalcore, which reminds me a lot of like early Trivium. So, really sick band. They've been quiet for a while. I hope they're cooking up something. I hope they come back strong and soon. But yeah, that's my number 10. A little just a fun show. A very random show. And, not everything has to be a big spectacle, but sometimes you can just put four bands on a lineup, be like, fuck, Call of Duty's pretty sick, eh? So's camo shorts. Let's have a Call of Duty poster gig where we celebrate camo shorts. Some guy rocked up in a full fucking ghillie suit. It was sick. People just got into it. It was a silly idea. People got into it. And fuck, I love that in live music. Moving on. First International, Poppy. Touring for I Disagree. It was a sideshow for Good Things, I want to say, because it happened in December 2019. And kind of probably one of the smallest stages Poppy will ever headline in Australia now, because she's obviously huge. Now opening for, was it Bad Omens at Festival Hall where the roof came in? But to see this really small, intimate show as she's kind of transitioning from that pop sound into the metal sound, it was a real strange clashing of scenes. I think I also talked about this in my last vlog video, but just people in the room who are like the kind of really artistic, hyper pop dressed people clashing with the metal scene. Again, people like not knowing what to do in the pit because some people are there to mosh and some people aren't. Having Voyager open the show because they were also on the festival only compounded the confusion and just eclecticness. I sadly missed Voyager. I didn't get a work time, but yeah, it was wild. It was interesting for me. It was a bit of a first look into that kind of, I guess, not arena pop sound. Like you go see an arena pop show, you expect a lot of spectacle and full backing tracks and stuff. Seeing someone on Stay Gold stage using heavy backing tracks for vocals and stuff in a pop setting was really jarring for me because I'm used to seeing a full lineup band that doesn't use a lot of backing tracks or only like symphonics and stuff. So that was a bit jarring, but I got over it pretty early on, and then yeah, was really enjoying it. And I got to hang out with Loki from Hybrid Nightmares for the night. You don't always get to hang out with your favorite musicians in a punter setting as well. It's normally, if I'm at a gig, it's because he's playing it, and I chat to him at the merch table and stuff. But just to be in the crowd with him for the whole night and drink a few beers and talk shit. I believe that's the night he put me onto Ice Peak for the first time. So that was really cool. A great night. I really enjoyed it. It was really cool to see Poppy. Sadly, we'll never get to see Poppy on a stage as small as Stay Gold ever again. So, like, really lives as something very unique. And for me, and obviously Poppy's sound is very, like, structured, I guess, in metalcore now. She's got a real... It's not even a niche, because a lot of people do that sound, but, she's got a spot where she's kind of resting on her laurels now. So, to be in this transitional era of Poppy and to see that live was really cool too. And that's another thing where like I don't think I'll get to see that again. So it's really special that I did get to see it and to share it with a close friend. Moving on, and hey look, I've got a photo from this one. Guttermouth. I'm playing Covered with Ants, but naming it Guttermouth are covered with ants and demanding fan requests. Guttermouth are a band I think I've seen 3 final Australian tours. I sadly am not in Melbourne for their next show, which they are billing as their final Australian tour. Fallen for it before, but, with the life that vocalist Mark has lived, any tour could be his last tour. It's amazing that he's still going at this point. But, sick lineup. Wolfpack and Catholic Guilt are 2 of my favourite local bands in the punk scene. And Guttermouth were the first international punk band I ever saw. I went and saw them at Corova Lounge in Ballarat because Clowns were opening, and I'm like, cool, I just want to see Clowns. And I had a blast of a time. That show was absolutely wild. I remember I had a girlfriend at the time there with me. It was her first time going to a gig uh, at like a venue like Corova Lounge. I think she'd been to like some stadium shows, but not, a smaller gig. And I've talked about how much I love this scene and, going to gigs like this and venues like Corova Lounge. I'm like, it's going to be great. And we get there, and they don't even have an opening band. They have the opening act is a stunt crew. So the first thing she sees is these guys pouring Tabasco in their eyes. I think one of them threw like a bowling ball at the other one's dick, and I think the final act was one of them nailing his earlobe to the bar. I'm like, well, it's not normally this chaotic, alright? Sorry, I might have thrown you in the deep end. Let's just get a drink and we'll go hang out in the back room. However, it's got like these two different rooms separated by a little walkway. And we'll just chill out until the bands come on. So we go to the back room, and one of the guys from Guttermouth is laying on the pool table getting a tattoo in this filthy fucking bar. And like, I am so sorry I've thrown you right in the deep end of one of the most foul, wild shows I have ever been to. And this is your first experience of what it's like to hit up a gig. Sorry. Funnily enough, that night came up in our breakup later on, so that one might have been a bit of a crack in the foundations. Oopsie daisy. But hey, I still love Guttermouth, so getting to see this, getting to see Covered with Ants, it's got so many of my favourite songs that it would contest the top album of Guttermouth. I can't think right now of what my top ones would be, but it would at least be top three. So I got to see a lot of songs that I love live, and I got to see them live for the first time as well. Plus, I did fan requests, so anything that was great but wasn't on that album, I got to hear too. The sound wasn't great. Mark's well past his expiry date, and I think they actually turned the microphone down on him to compensate for that, but the crowd energy was there. It's a lot of older punks, which, I vibe with the older punks. A lot more than the younger punks. So I don't know, just a bunch of used past their use by date punks, and I guess I was part of that too. In a room enjoying a classic punk band. It was really fun. Moving on to number 7, Nicolas Cage Fighter, playing with Future Static, Wake the Blind, and Blight. This was the first time I had seen Nicolas Cage Fighter in a large amount of years, because they took a big hiatus. I was still living in Ballarat and seeing them at Corova Lounge, which was their local and my local at the time, and then I've moved to Melbourne, and then they've gone on a big hiatus, and then they've come back and like immediately got signed to a label and started dropping like awesome music and playing in Melbourne a bunch. I'm like, sick, where did this come from? Nicolas Cage Fighter's suddenly back. Alright. And they had a show announced in Melbourne, and I didn't buy tickets until the night of. And when it hit the night of, I was sitting at home and I was in a bit of a slump, and I'm like, man, I just don't want to be at home right now. Like, I'm stewing in my misery. I gotta get out of the house. So I messaged Connor. I'm like, Connor, there's a gig at Stay Gold. It's got like an emo night, club night thing afterwards. Nicolas Cage Fighter are sick. I don't know any of the other bands. You want to come see? And he's like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. So we went to the gig, and this was the first time I'd ever seen Future Static, and I believe it was their current vocalist's first gig with the band, or one of her first shows with the band, and they just blew me away immediately. I'm like, this is something special. This is going to be big one day. I started messaging friends who are bookers. I'm like, if you've got something coming up, put Future Static on it. They are going to blow up, and probably very soon. And then sure enough, not long after this, they became like the Destroyer Line darling. They get put on, basically any fucking tour they want, it seems. And they've really upped just the production of their music and everything about the band, like all their music videos and stuff. They've really exploded, and getting on this kind of, I almost feel like I was one of the last people on at the ground floor, and then from here they've just shot to the moon, and it was really cool to see them just before that happened and tell everyone to get on it just before it happened, because now I get to go around and be like, I told you so. I told you they were going to be big, and look at them now. They're fucking great. Um, so, get down to a local gig if you want to see the next big thing. I've seen hundreds of bands, and not all of them were the next big thing, but one of them eventually will be, so you just gotta play the numbers game. But then Nicolas Cage Fighter came out, they put on a great set too. They're also blowing up international tours. Nicolas Cage says they're one of his favorite bands, and he actually like quotes the lyrics in the interview. That was so sick. Like, obviously being aware of a band named after you is being cool and being like, oh yeah, I think they're all right. That Nicolas Cage Fighter band, but like someone asked him about it in an interview and he starts quoting lyrics from the band. I'm like, well, that's not just a fan. That is someone like super invested in it. I bet Nicolas Cage Fighter has a Nicolas Cage Fighter like shirt and CD. I would fucking put money on that. And heck, even when I went overseas to Japan last, I went to Tower Records and I saw Nicolas Cage Fighter CDs in Tower Records in Tokyo. And I took a photo and sent it to the band. I'm like, holy shit. I used to watch you play to like fucking 20 people at Corona Lounge, and now I'm finding your records in Japan. This is the sickest thing. You just love to see people grow up and glow up. And then, speaking of glow ups, look at these photos from the emo night afterwards. Look how chuffed I was. Johnny came out as well, and there with my beautiful wife and Connor. It ended up really turning my night around and just, yeah, turning a slump into an absolute banger night out. And getting to see Future Stag for the first time, getting to see Nicolas Cage fight, getting to see all my friends and dance and fucking sing emo bangers. Good night out. Gotta remember that one always. It was a very precious night. The week before that night out, though, I was at Stay Gold once again for Triple Kill launching their Finish the Fight single, which, boy howdy, that is a long time between that single launch and the eventual album it would come out on. But, I feel like something delayed the world around the time of, early 2021, maybe a bit before that. Because as you can see, this is the Age of COVID after party after the show. Celebrate the return of relative normalcy with COVID-free party metal DJs. This was not a COVID-free party, as we would all find out after the fact. In fact, some might call this a super spreader event, because almost everyone who went to it ended up getting COVID. Oopsie daisy. But on the plus side, I saw a lot of people for the first time since lockdown at this show, so it was a great little reunion. I got to see mates in bands, old Triple Kill, and the guys in Trigger as well, who, some of them were just had the soul ripped out of them because of COVID. People who live and breathe music to then say, sorry, you can't go to a gig. In fact, you can't even do anything, sit in your fucking room for a year. I saw them become really just uninspired husks of their former creative selves. And this was kind of reigniting the light inside of them. And I got to see them just reborn like a phoenix, fucking right there on stage. And see them smiling again, and back to their old selves. And it was just really positive to see. Really beautiful to witness that, because there were friends that I was legitimately worried about and being like, shit man, like you've had everything ripped from you basically. Music was your everything and someone took it from you, and I'm worried. And then it got given back and I got to be there for it, and then I wasn't worried anymore. I was chuffed, I was thrilled. There were also some people that I met online during COVID. I mentioned Adam at the start from Pale Dust Show. We met online during COVID. He was a friend of a friend of one of the Triple Kill guys, actually. And we spent countless hours in video calls, playing video games together online. And then, he comes up to me at the bar. He's like, hey, I'm Adam. I'm like, hey, Adam, nice to meet you, man. I'm Regan. He kind of pauses and then goes, no, I'm Adam. And I cock my head, and then it clicks. I'm like, holy shit, Adam, dude, got to meet him in the flesh. And that moment always just clicks with me, because like the way he just intoned his voice just made all the difference. Apparently, like, hi, I'm Adam means nothing, but Adam apparently meant everything, and just penny dropped. Again, really fucking just great moment, great friends, great gig. That's going to obviously be the tie in all of these, that they're just great gigs with great friends, because that's what it's about. And Triple Kill launched an awesome banger, plus an awesome shirt design, that big green slime monster thing. Do another run of the hoodies, you cowards. Please. Thank you. Moving on. Hey, I mentioned the Smith Street Band and how many times I've seen them and Will solo at Stagov, so naturally one of them was going to end up in the top 10. The one I'm talking about here is actually the January 7th. They did one poster for two shows. I went to the January 7th one, where they played Leica. Beautiful album, EP? You can call it an album. They played that in full, plus a bunch of old stuff. And I went with my brother, Kieran. Leica is the song, Leica, off the album Leica. It's just an absolutely beautiful, heart-wrenching track from the perspective of the dog Leica about not really understanding why you're getting shot into space. Go listen to it. You'll probably cry. But, it's a beautifully tragic EP. Getting to hear it in full was amazing. It was a really intimate show where he's gone into a lot of backstories behind all the songs and how they got written and what the inspirations were. And those shows are great because it's always awesome to find out how the sausage is made in that respect and to see these people and follow their careers, but then get the really intimate insides of their careers. Just makes you feel more connected to the music, really, and to the artist. Not in a weird parasocial way, but just to be like, oh wow, gee, he's human and he translates his life experiences into an artistic format. That's awesome. He also played a bunch of really old songs, like stuff that only exists on demos and Bandcamp that, you can't find on streaming services anywhere, like Spotify. Some of them I'd never even heard before, and, I troll Bandcamp, but I hadn't heard these ones, and was writing notes and writing down lyrics that I was picking up, and my brother recorded all of them and sent me the recordings afterwards so I could go out there and find all the studio versions of them. And then in between those as well, not only just how the songs were made, but just little tour stories and tidbits like that. It was just a really cool, intimate show of a lot of conversation mixed in with a lot of old material that rarely sees the light of day. And once again, sharing that with one of my favorite people. So yeah, banger show. Really love that one. Number 4, and from here on out, you can just order the top ones in any order you want, really, because they're all great as each other. Even I changed the order in my notes after making the slideshow. So this is actually number 2 in my final copy of the notes, but in the slideshow I put it number 4. It doesn't matter. This is Triple Kill again. They got featured twice with we gotta get this little guy back to his home planet, which they described on the Facebook event as a heavy metal music performance. And boy howdy is that an apt description. This was beyond a gig. This was a stage show. It had narrative. It had Santa Claus. It had a little alien puppet. It had 2 other aliens. One of them painted his body entirely grey for the bit. In the photo there, I masterfully covered it with Santa Claus, but it was hard to find a photo of that moment that I could put on YouTube because the little banana hammock there showed a lot of tasteful side sack, and I figured I wouldn't share that with you unless you really want it. Yeah, it wasn't just on stage as well. The gimmick bled out into the crowd. They gave away alien glasses, as you can see me and Johnny wearing those. They gave out alien patches. And yeah, there were just all these little gimmicks scattered out. And then they did the Area Rifty One club night afterwards. They made a whole live event that really bled off the stage into the crowd. Just with this very silly idea of they have this little alien puppet, which I sadly don't have a good photo of, but this little baby alien puppet that they have to help get back to his home planet. And it sounds dumb, and it was dumb, but it was flawlessly executed. And it was really cool to see this idea. Connor had talked about this so much. Connor is the drummer of Triple Kill. I've mentioned him a lot, but this is where he's from. He is the drummer of Triple Kill. He had talked about this project for so long of wanting to do this. So to finally see it reach the stage in all its glory, because fuck me, it was glorious and mad and just chaotic. But to see something that he talked about for years and, had pitched ideas and brainstormed ideas for years to finally hit the stage and materialize was awesome. I just know how much effort went into this and how much passion went into this, and it all paid off so much. And even just getting to be part of the conversations and like chipping in, like, oh, what if you did this? And then like get there on the night and they've done it. I'm like, I don't know, it makes you feel pretty fucking chuffed to know that your friends listen to you and, you know, respect your opinions and shit. Really cures the imposter syndrome to know that. Yeah, everyone had a blast. It was such a fun night. It was such a. Anyone who was there would not forget what they saw, that's for sure. And eventually, we did get the little guy back to his home planet. And Santa helped, and I think we somehow saved Christmas. And the Feds rocked up, which was Daydream Deluxe, and they did a cover of fucking Come On and Jam. You can buy that cover online if you want. It was sick, but he was dressed as a fucking like man in black, and that was sick too. It was oh, it felt like the entire show just hit me at a million miles per hour. And, like every little bit in between, every like gimmick in between the songs was just as unpredictable as the last one. Like to the point where when Santa came out, I'm not even fighting it at this point. I'm just like, oh okay, yep, cool. Santa's part of this narrative now. You know, we're trying to get an alien back to his planet. The Men in Black are trying to stop us, and now Santa's here. Fuck it, why not? Doesn't make any less sense than anything else happening on stage. Crazy fun, and just the reason I love Triple Kill. Like, Triple Kill are the only band in the metal scene who could do this. And if you're not a fan of Triple Kill, or you haven't checked them out, let this be your call to check them out, because they will do more shit like this in the future, and it will be just as good, if not better. You just gotta be there for it. Moving on, and I'm really loving how mixed this is between domestic bands and international bands, but Malevolence headlining in Australia for the first time ever. Like I said with Poppy, this will be the last time I ever see Malevolence play a stage this small as a headlining act, because they're just so much bigger than this. You know, they've toured with Alpha Wolf now, they've toured with Die Hard is Murder, and people rock up for them at those shows. So next time they come out here, they're going to be playing venues the size that Alpha Wolf play and Die Hard Murder play, you know, eventually. But they definitely won't be playing venues as small as Stay Gold ever again, that's for sure. And I feel like everyone in the crowd just knew how special it was, because the crowd rocked up, they went so hard for it, and boy hell, like this is peak gym music, this is peak gym riff. And I'm glad I wasn't the only person who thinks that, because some absolutely swole hench motherfuckers showed up. That pit was one of the most dangerous I've ever seen. Not because people were doing particularly dangerous things in the pit outside of, you know, a kind of hardcore metal show, but just because the people doing it were massive. I've never seen people so big in a pit. I've never felt so small at a gig. You know, like I'm 6 foot, like just a flat 6 foot. So I'm not the biggest guy in the room normally, but I'm also not really the smallest guy. But in that room, I felt like the smallest guy. I felt like the average height of the room was like fucking 6'6", and the average bench press was like 150 kilos. It was crazy. So I stayed out of the pit for most of Malevolence, because I just looked at that, I'm like, nah, man, I don't want any broken bones in my face tonight. But at the end of the set, Connor, who huge Malevolence fan and put me onto the band, and once again, it's just a special band that we get to share together, convinced me to get in there, and I had a time of my life and I didn't get my face smashed in. So again, just sharing a really cool gig that will probably never happen again at this scale. It'll always be bigger and less intimate. Sharing it with one of my best friends, you just can't beat that. Like, of course, that's gonna make top three every time, anytime. Also, one of the opening bands, I can't remember which one. I feel like it wasn't Gravitate, so it's this other one that I can't read on the poster. Splinter. I'm pretty sure that's Splinter's bassist. You can see in the photo there. Immediately, I looked at that shirt and I clocked it. And I'm like, that is a Warhammer shirt. That is a schematic for a Chaos Predator. Insert joke about predators in the hardcore scene. But I'm like, what fucking band is that? So I took that photo just so I could reverse image search it, and that's how I discovered No Cure. Like, this is the night I also discovered No Cure. And fuck me, I hope they tour Australia, because they're probably at the size where they will put on a show Stay Gold size, which sadly won't be at Stay Gold. But boy howdy, when I see them, I will remember that I discovered them because I went to this awesome Malevolence gig. So, hey, go check out No Cure if you haven't. They're sick. foster an Australian scene for them so they will tour here with awesome Warhammer merch. Please and thank you. Malevolence also had awesome merch. They had the like football jersey because they're British, which is always funny to hear. He sounded like it wasn't this. It was the Thy Art show. There was a fight in the pit within like the first fucking 10 seconds of their set. There were so many aggro dudes there, obviously using the pit instead of going to therapy. And hearing him on stage yell at them, it was the perfect English school teacher, just like, "Oi, oi, you break it up over there!" But I fucking lost it. Felt like we were watching an episode of In-Betweeners or something. But yeah, fuck yeah, Malevolence. Thank you for doing this. When I see you next, I'm sure you'll be playing to thousands of people in a room where I can't, fucking crowd surf and high five you during one of my favorite songs. But on the plus side, I'll still be able to throw the arms around Connor and belt out fireplace together, and I get a little bit teary-eyed and remember how much I love my friends and how awesome life is because I get to share moments like this with them. Moving on, number 2. This technically isn't a double up because it's this full Smith Street band now, not just Will Wagner. And it's their Pool House Christmas shows. Pool House Records is their own record label. And every year in late December, they put on a Christmas show. And they've done 2 at Stay Gold as far as I know. They move it around. It's also like at the corner often. But I've definitely been to 2 at Stay Gold. And the main one in the middle of the screen there is the one I'm picking. But as a little bonus entry, there was also another one with Foley. Foley are a sick band, so I didn't want to exclude them. But the main one had the Smith Street Band, the Bennies, and Jess Locke. That was in 2019. Just a great line. If you ask me to book a lineup for to book 2 openers for the Smith Street Band, I would book the Bennies and Jess Locke. The cool thing about those is that at the end of the year, everyone's kind of wrapping up, so it's a really chill vibe. And the shows are a bit smaller as well because, a lot of people going home for Christmas and stuff. They're not in the city, they're not going out to gigs. But because work's wrapping up and Christmas is around the corner and stuff, it's a chance for me and both my brothers to get together and see a band that we all love. As you can see in the photos there, we could not get one where we're all pulling a nice face. But, we're all out, Stay Gold together, seeing a band that we all love in a, really small, intimate environment where we're all able to just get in the pit and throw our arms around each other, belt out songs that we all know the lyrics to. When you grow up and you become an adult, it's rare you actually get a night out where it's just you and your 2 brothers. We all have wives, extended family, Cal's got kids. So normally when we're getting together as a family, it's a big deal. It's very rarely just the 3 boys get together and being brothers. So, these Christmas shows and the ability to do this every Christmas, it always means heaps. And I really appreciate the Smith Street Band for being that, annual part of my life. That little pre-Christmas tradition of just hitting the town with my brothers and having a few drinks together before the chaos of, Christmas Day with all the kids running around and stuff. It's just the boys. It's cool. It means a lot. So yeah, if you ever want to see a Smith Street Band play a small, intimate show with chill vibes, hit up the annual Christmas show. It'll always be just a few days before Christmas. And the openers are typically absolutely bangers too. And finally, moving on to my number 1. I kind of cheated with this. It's technically 2 gigs, but it was the same tour and they're back to back. Yeah, I'm counting it as 1. It is Cancer Bats in 2024, where they played one night as Cancer Bats, and then they played the next night as Bat Sabbath, their Black Sabbath cover band. And Cancer Bats are just one of my all-time favorite bands. I got into them really early. They broke down a lot of walls of metal elitism. I was in the age of still listening to only thrash metal, and I was 16, so I was only really big for thrash metal. It's not like I was a diehard thrash fan. And talking shit about metalcore or anything with core in the title and stuff. We were all kids once. And then one day, one of my mates was like, "Hey, I know you don't like metalcore, but check out Cancer Bats." And they put on Hail Destroyer, and so much of my elitism just melted away. And I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking cool. Metalcore can be this? Hardcore can be this? This is awesome. Ever since I was very, early days, I was huge into Cancer Bats. I missed a lot of their shows growing up. I think they actually, Not long after that, they played on that tour where it was them, Bullet for My Valentine, and Pierce the Veil, I want to say. And only being interested in Cancel Bats, I couldn't justify a ticket for that. I think I then missed the next one around because I was like out of the state when they played Melbourne. I eventually caught them at Stay Gold. Is the first time I caught them, but it wasn't this show. It was years back. They played with Totally Unicorn. That was a pretty cool show. Had some issues. The security they had on that night weren't aware of what happens at hardcore shows and metal shows. So there were people getting dragged out of the pit for moshing and stage diving. And Liam, the vocalist, actually had to stop the show and tell security to fuck off because like they were dragging people out of the show for simply engaging with it. And it was on like a Wednesday night as well, so like as much as I wanted to cut sick, I really couldn't because I was at the point where I'm like, I was young and I had like my first, good corporate job. I'm like, no, I can't like go out and mosh. What if I get a bruise and my boss thinks less of me? And obviously in 2024, when they came back, I'm just at the point of like, they couldn't fire me even if they wanted to. If I get a black eye in the pit tonight, it's something cool to talk about at work tomorrow. Let's fucking go. So I was really in there for these shows, and right up there at the front, once again, Cancer Bats is also a band that means the world to Connor, so me and him right up the front together, and I've even got, look at him. Look at him right up there. He's wearing his hat as well, so we're going all the way back to the camo show. It's coming full circle. That's the thing, it is all connected. That's the beauty of it all. It's not just one-off nights or anything like that. It's all connected, baby. The good times just keep running into more good times. And as you can see from how blurry my photos are, there was just so much energy and movement. I couldn't get a nice still shot for the life of me. Because just the pit was on always, the band was on always, and they're insane performers. They're really engaging, they're really fun. There's a lot of back and forth with the crowd and stuff. And then the next night when they played the Bat Sabbath, there was so much like pantomime and like character work that goes into like trying to present themselves as a completely different band, and like between every single song being like, that was another hit by the masters of the dark arts, Black Sabbath, and then pausing for applause. Like we had to applaud every time he said Black Sabbath, and he just kept putting it in there. And it was silly, it was really silly, but then they'd just go into these absolutely ripper covers. If you buy the deluxe edition of Dead Set on Living, then you have the bonus CD that has all those Black Sabbath covers on it. So you would have heard it, and they go even harder live. I was so stoked that when they came to Melbourne, they were going to play a show as Bat Sabbath. I was almost more excited about that than seeing them as Cancer Bats, because it's a rare thing. They do it every now and then, but it's a rare thing, and to get a rare thing when bands come all the way around the world to Australia, that's really, really awesome. And Dead Set on Living is also just a really important album to me. I've got a Dead Set on Living tattoo, like the album art, on my chest there. And the first time I saw them, I've actually got a photo of me and the vocalist where I've got my nip out, showing off my cool tattoo. After they finished the Bat Sabbath set, they came back out as Cancer Bats, and they played like, I want to say like another 4 or 5 song mini set of just all of Cancer Bat's best songs, like Hell Destroy and stuff. It felt like getting a double headline show. It was so fucking cool. And that's why, yeah, I think this is probably my favorite, well, technically 2 nights out at Stay Gold. And like I said, like the venue's a big part of all those memories because it was such a cool venue, and you are so close to the stage that you get to be there at these intimate shows with some of your favorite bands who could be playing a lot larger venues, and they're close enough to reach out and fucking high five, and they're normally at the merch desk giving out high fives after the show anyway. So it's really sad to lose a venue like this. I don't know, what's going to happen now. Bands big enough to play Stay Gold, but maybe not sell it out, are probably going to go to Bergie Seltzer, which is a really similar vibe, and it's just across the road, and it's only a little bit small. Oh, actually, it's probably a lot smaller. It would only be a step down. If you're big enough to play Stay Gold, but maybe not sell it out, then you're probably selling out Bergie Seltzer, but only just. The international bands who like reliably sell out Stay Gold, maybe like Leadbeater out in Richmond, which is a shame because, like I said, Stay Gold was just perfect location Leadbeater, shit location. You want to drive there? Fuck you. Like, go park 6 kilometers away from the venue and walk, you dickhead. If you're not on that train line, have fun getting the train all the way into the city and then out to fucking Richmond. It's like, Richmond is such a long suburb on the north-south axis that, like, it's not even, like, near the other Richmond venues. It's nowhere near the corner. It's nowhere near like Central Club or anything. It's ages away from even those. It's a great venue. I love Leadbeater, but it's in the shittest spot. So I hope wherever they go, it's either Leadbeater on a weekend where I've got time to go to and fro, or it is somewhere more central. At the end of the day, the one thing I realized putting together this list is that it doesn't really matter where it is. Like I said, there's a lot of awesome things about Stay Gold and its location, and there's also some, not so awesome things that had its issues. But the one thing that I noticed in all of these top tens is that I was there with someone that, like, I genuinely have a world of love for in my heart, whether it be my wife, whether it be one of my best friends, whether it be my brothers. And none of these shows I was there just by myself, just enjoying the music. It was always about sharing the experience with someone, whether they be in the band on stage or in the crowd next to me. Yeah, there was always friends at all these gigs, and I think that's why it doesn't ultimately matter where they go next. It only matters that they have somewhere to go. And that's the real threat. I just hope that we don't lose another venue and then not gain one somewhere else. Definitely in my time, it feels like we've lost more venues than we've gotten. For the scene to do well, you need to have places to play. For mid-tier, small-tier international bands to come to Australia, they've got to have somewhere where they can put on a show that won't come at a loss. It's worrying to lose a venue like Stay Gold for that reason. But it's not over until it's finally over, until the doors are closed. So you've still got time to get down there, make some last memories at Stay Gold. When I made that slide earlier where I'm like, last show, question mark, I hadn't bought tickets to anything yet, but after mulling on today, I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna buy tickets to the last emo night, have Nightlight playing, so if you want to see me one last time at Stay Gold and share a good memory with me, I'll be there Saturday, June 13th for Nightlight and the emo night. And if that's not your vibe, I hope you get down there one more time just to show it, show it some love before it closes doors, and just let people know that there is a market for live music venues. I believe it's a matter of like the landlord not wanting to renew the lease with the Stay Gold team, so it's not like they're not running a financially viable business. It's just some dickhead landlord probably wants to turn into apartments. Purely speculation on my behalf, by the way, but it didn't seem like it was losing money. It always seemed to be well attended, and there seems to be a very passionate music scene in Melbourne, so I doubt that it was driving people away, that's for sure. So let people know that you still want to go out and you still want to see live music, so that businesses know that they can keep their doors open because the punters will come. But hey, that's my top 10. Let me know your favourite gigs. What are your best memories at Stay Gold? Were you at any of my favourite shows? Did you feel similarly about them? Maybe you went and, didn't have the night of your life. That's okay too. Like I said, this is 10 out of 29 gigs out of this venue out of 500 gigs total, so like, not all of them have been the best night out of my life, but it was nice to go through it and pick 10 and be like, you know what? They were all contenders. So let me know what your contenders were, and I'll let you know if I was there and what I thought of those shows. How about that? Otherwise, yeah, get to a gig. Get to a lot of gigs. Live music is the coolest thing ever. I don't want to rehash points I made in my last video for the 500 gig thing, but, music is just one of the things found in every single culture on Earth. No matter what time period you go to, and no matter where you go on Earth, you will find people performing music for other people. And if that doesn't mean that it's something that is so inherently special to humanity, then fuck, I don't know what is. So, go see live music somewhere. Go see it at Stay Gold before it closes. Go see it at a different venue to put money in their pocket so they don't have to close one day. And I hope this is the last video I have to do like this for a long time. I hope no one else closes their doors. And I hope I get to make a lot more memories at other places. And I hope you're there too, making memories with me. So until then, peace out.